True believers and newcomers alike, I bid you welcome to another edition of Sports Store on Enterprise Television. This is the program where we give you the major lowdown of things happening in sports. I'm Josh Ikekoli, and here are the headlines. The Confederation of AFCON Football launches investigation into the shabby treatment of Super Eagles by Libyan authorities. Let's take a short break on Sports Store. When we return, it's going to be all about all the items that we have on offer. Welcome back to Sports Store on Enterprise Television. I have here with me virtually Adebanjo Adeni Ogunsheye. He is a sports presenter, a sports broadcaster, a producer, analyst, and of course, he's a content creator. And he's one who he's basically done it all in sports. Adeni, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much, Josh.
Okay. So let's start off with the fact that the Confederation of AFCON Football has initiated a thorough probe into the unacceptable treatment of Nigerian Super Eagles by Libyan authorities. The Nigerian team en route to honor their 2025 AFCON Cup of Nations qualifier was shockingly diverted to Al-Abrak Airport, a small airport typically used for Hajj operations. This unexpected change led to an unbearable 20-hour ordeal, exposing players and staff to emotional, physical, and mental trauma as they were not provided with food, water, internet, security, proper information, and even places to lay their head in the substandard facilities, with the Nigerian contingent also fearing for their lives and their well-being. CAF has rightly condemned Libya's actions, citing violations of player safety and well-being protocols. The Nigerian Football Federation officials have also lodged a formal complaint, and CAF's probe will also examine compliance with player safety protocols, violations of governing statutes, and measures to prevent future incidents. Adeni, of course, we know, or we've been hearing what's been happening for the past couple of hours. The Super Eagles stranded in Libya, and they are back to Nigeria. They touched down at the Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano, en route to Abuja on Monday evening. Talk to us about that whole brouhaha that has been ongoing in the Confederation of AFCON Football, and also what should CAF do, because this is something that has happened lots of times to me, to you, to lots of sports journalists who have been participating in continental festivities, continental activities with the Football Federation. So this is not like the first time this is happening. What do you think CAF needs to do to really clamp down on this situation?
Well, once again, thank you very much, Josh. So this is a multifaceted problem. And also, you can look at it from a number of views. From the player's perspective, and that is where to start from. Not healthy. No professional footballer or no athlete, for that matter, should have to worry about their safety.
Okay.
Worry health in the course of wanting to represent their team, their nation, or treatment is justification for those players themselves to have boycotted the game. Angle, of course, is for the fans. Everybody wanted to see the Super Eagles play. After what happened in Europe, there was a feeling that the Libyans will come out, as against how they played on Friday, they would come out to want to play for a point, because that game would have, the result of that game would have determined whether or not they would continue in the AFCON qualifications, as would determine whether or not they have any chance of continuing to hope for a place in Morocco 2025. Yeah. So I think it was a desperate move from the Libyans to want to save face, but the fans wanted to see a beautiful game. And from all the fillers, we heard Patrice Motsepe, who is the CAF president, also wanted the Super Eagles to honor that game. But that's what fans would do. But if you're a Nigerian, I'm sure that you would support 100% the decision of the players to not go out there. The other aspect to this is the federations. Okay. Because all of this happened because of whatever happened at that level. with the federations, the Libya Football Federation and the Nigerian Football Federation. Whether it was miscommunication, whether it was just grandstanding, whether it was
deliberate sabotage on the part of the Libyans.
Whatever it was, it started at that level. And unfortunately, when you have those at the head not do what they are supposed to do, not do their due diligence, it is eventually, those who are dependent on their decisions that would suffer for the consequences of the players. And the players, like I said before, shouldn't have to, be put under that sort of condition. What should CAF do, or what would CAF do? We know that, the Nigerian Football Federation has sent its official report on, the occurrence in Libya to CAF, and we also know that CAF has received official reports from Libya, or have contacted the Libya Football Federation for their side of the story. Ideally, today's game is not going to hold because the visiting team is not on ground. What would happen is the game will be cancelled or postponed. It's not a case of they came or couldn't make it to the stadium. It's a case of they are not in town. If the Nigerian team was in Libya and still give the impression of them honoring the game, then perhaps they would have been walked over. If they were in Libya and didn't turn up for the game against Libya, because we know and we've seen pictures from the Libya Football Federation that their team continued to train regardless of what happened in the Nigerian camp. So what is certain is that CAF would have to first suspend that game, and when its disciplinary committee comes out with its report, what we expect to hear is
we've got him back. Are you still with us?
CAF's position, and CAF's position, I would imagine, would be speaking from the point of view of what happened to the players. It shouldn't have happened. There is absolutely no justification for putting those players through whatever we have read that they were put through. And so, in that regards, I assume involved vice champions of Africa. This is one game I'm sure that CAF perhaps had a whole lot riding on paper. So from the business point of view, CAF has lost money and they would have to recoup. In that regards, I want to assume that some fine will be levied not just on the Libyan Football Federation, but also on the Nigerian Football Federation. It is not news, Josh, and you have experience of having gone with teams who play in North Africa.
In North Africa,
It is not news, and this was everywhere yesterday. People who were attached to Enyimba, players who have had these experiences, all of them sharing their stories of how it's a death trap. It is a hellhole.
Very hostile,
all the very gory ways to describe the worst experiences when you go to the northern part of Africa to confront an African team or to play against an African team, the North African team. So it is a recurring situation. They've done it to Enyimba. They've done it to even our national teams.
To Remo Stars. To our national teams, yes. 8th grade national teams as well. FC Fanibada, I witnessed as well in Egypt.
Yes, exactly. And you would have first-hand account of everything that transpired.
Okay, I think we've lost Adeni Adibanjo Ogunsheye, sports writer, broadcaster, presenter, agent, content creator, and player manager.
Petition CAF over for one of those occasions when the venue of the match was changed last minute and it was not communicated to the visiting team. It's all these antics. I mean, it's all fun and games when it happens and then the results come out. But when you take it to the dire length where players are now falling sick, they're not sleeping well, they're not eating
well,
they don't even have water to drink, and Libya this time of year, I would assume might be very cold. Staying in the airport with very little basic amenities, sleeping in the open, Josh. Even for the strongest men in the world, I'm sure that's like pushing them to their limits. And these are just football players. Of course, we know some of them have this history, coming from, the very tough streets in Lagos, or in Abia State or somewhere in the north. But over the years, they've had to change their mentality. But once again, to remind them of where they are coming from, I'm sure that also that might put some kind of mental pressure or have some mental impact on them. And so, when you read the tweets from Moses Simon, Victor Boniface, however light they try to make the situation, Stanley Mwabali, however light they try to make the situation, you could still read between the lines and see that they are concerned, genuinely, because now they're not just young boys. They are boys who have families, who have friends, and then, of course, they have a career that, Victor Boniface, for instance, I'm sure in the 3 years since his ascension from playing in Norway to where he is now in the Bundesliga, I'm sure his dream to go further yesterday might have flashed before his very eyes, seeing and experiencing everything that went down in that Al Abrak airport. He was the one who wanted to make light of the situation, but I guess also that he was very, very concerned. So CAF knows about these things. CAF has not done anything about it. And some might say perhaps it is because of the composition of, the positions in CAF, people who hold the positions in CAF. It's North Africans, it's East Africans, it's Southern Africans who hold positions, top positions, influential positions in CAF. Nigeria's presence in CAF over the years has been a question of, what are we doing there? Who do we have there? Amaju Pinnick is in
FIFA. He's in FIFA,
Adamu, who is director of competition. But beyond that, do we have anybody who is in a position to actually pull strings and make things happen? When we don't get our referees officiating CAF tournaments, we look at CAF and we look at, our people back home, the officials, and we say, where are you? Where were you when they were selecting, referees? What influence do you have in the decisions they make at CAF? And we don't have people like that. And so the politics itself, sometimes we seem to be in the background. And when you are there, a lot of things will fly over your head. Because the North Africans, and this, some people might say it's just a conspiracy theory, but because the North Africans hold very solid positions in CAF, they've managed to get away with some of these things. While going through CAF's executive list yesterday, there's a Libyan there. There was no Nigerian. And the only Nigerian whose name appeared, Emirua, he's not even an executive member.
Yes, of course.
He serves in the security committee. How much influence does he have as far as decision making in CAF is concerned? Because when the disciplinary committee sits and the CAF executive committee review whatever findings they get from all of these petitions that have been sent in, it is the executives who would now sit down and decide, okay, we will adopt this, or let's tweak this, let's impute this. So, but we know that over the years, Nigerian clubs, Ghanaian clubs, clubs from South Africa, they've all experienced these things and they've complained, and all these complaints have fell on deaf ears. Josh, we can only hope that, because now we have a Southern African there at the helms, and seeing how much stain yesterday's situation, since Sunday actually, this 2-day situation ordeal has brought sort of stain that it has.
Apologies once again for the network mishap that we've been experiencing all through the broadcast, but definitely we would still be talking about these issues as we get more information on this developing story. Quickly before we go, let's just reel out the results of games that were played all over the world before we head outside football. On the continent, in other African Cup of Nations qualifiers, Mozambique defeated Eswatini by 3-0. Equatorial Guinea defeated Liberia by 2-1. Algeria won, Togo 0. Zimbabwe defeated Namibia 3-1. Gambia defeated Madagascar by 1-0. Kenya lost at home to Cameroon. Burundi lost at home to Burkina Faso. So Burkina Faso, Cameroon and Algeria have qualified for AFCON 2025. In Europe, in the UEFA Nations League, Belgium and France. France defeated Belgium away from home 2-1, even though Aurélien Tchouameni got a red card. So 10-man France defeated Belgium by 2-1. Bosnia and Herzegovina 0, Hungary 2. Germany 1, Netherlands 0. Israel lost to Italy 4-1 in Rome. Georgia lost at home to Albania. Iceland lost at home by 4-2 to Turkey. Ukraine and Czechia, that's Czech Republic, played a 1-1 draw. Wales and Montenegro, that game ended in favor of the Welsh team. It was a 0-0 for Wales. Azerbaijan lost at home to Slovenia 3-1, and Estonia were defeated 3-0 to Sweden in the UEFA Nations League. That's how much we can take on the program for today. Endeavor to follow us on all our social media platforms. We are Enterprise TV 7 on YouTube. Click the notification bell to get alerts on our new YouTube videos. Follow us on all our social media platforms. We are Enterprise TV 7 on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok. Like, share, and engage with our content, and also visit our website www.enterprisetvnews.com, where we give you all the hot stories on the go, the live updates, the exclusives, and the news you can use. Moreover, if you want to partner with us on Enterprise Television and you want to place your product on our platform, and for all sponsorship and advertising inquiries, kindly send a mail to enterprisetv7@gmail.com, or you can send a DM to our aforementioned social media handles at Enterprise TV 7. Thank you once again for being a part of the show. And before we go, let's leave you with this quote from American football legend Maya Hamm, two-time Olympic gold medalist and two-time FIFA Women's World Cup champion in 1991 and 1999. She said, and I quote, "I've worked too hard and too long to let anything stand in the way of my goals. I will not let my teammate down, and I will not let myself down." End quote. I'm Josh Okoli, and until we meet again, it's goodbye and #luego.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.